Sulynn Hago, welcome to Unscripted Moments again for your however many visits this is at this point. So many.
Not sure.
I'm so delighted that you're back, Sulynn. First of all, congratulations on the release of Faith in the Doghouse, your first full-length album, which came out almost a month ago, November 7th, 2025. How has the past month been for you upon the release of the record?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, it was felt really good to release the beast. Um, it's cool to see like kind of overall like patterns and reactions and then like, and just and also new things. Yeah, it's been cool. And the next thing is just getting the band going and get some shows, but it was nice to finally get to the release because it's been a long time. I've been
It
working on it.
has. I mean, I remember chatting with you just like briefly on the phone. Like it's been a couple of years at least where we were I was standing out in my driveway. I remember it pretty clearly, and you were talking about how you were getting a record going. Um, Take me back to like the very beginning of when the album started to kind of percolate in your mind and when you kind of realized this became a possibility. Take me back to the beginning.
Okay. Well, it was actually born out of another failed band venture.
Hmm.
I was invested in a band for like 3 years, and without getting into the gritty details,
Yeah.
uh, it blew up and in a, yeah, very bad way. One of the worst blowouts I've had in a band. And so actually the album cover is pretty much day one. That picture, and it is outdated, like my hair doesn't look like that, like, but I wanted to use that picture because it's truly day one of being like, maybe I should just do something myself because that building that I'm in front of is called Springs Theater. It's in Sulphur Springs, Florida, and it was a theater that was converted into a recording studio. And that's where this thing blew up. I was in the middle of a recording session and a 3-year investment. And that picture was supposed to be a band photo. And
Hmm.
I decided to not cancel because I hate canceling shit. And I proceeded to meet with the photographer, Dave Decker. It's a good friend at like 7 in the morning the next day, like a Sunday morning. And I was like, whatever. My thinking was like, I'm just gonna do this photo shoot, and even though it felt weird, I was just like, I have nothing really to celebrate. I'm like, maybe I could use this, I'm like, and so we did it, and that's what that photo is. And yeah, it's not staged. Like that look on my face is like, fuck, I'm exhausted.
Mm.
It's like, um, yeah, I was just, man, it was hard. It was just like such a defeated feeling, and I'm like, oh, why does this keep happening? And um yeah, I was just kind of like, well, what do I do now? Like I don't, it pushed me to the brink where I'm like, I don't want to fucking like like start bands anymore. Like I
Hmm.
don't want to like it almost made me feel like this, like and that's just, and it's a weird thing because I think people had questions, like it's like, well, you're in propaganda, and it's a different, it's a different beast. Like I wanted something that was like just a home for like a my brainchild, that I
Yeah.
could go full out like insanity that didn't already have like an established like aesthetic. And not that the propaganda aesthetic's like not like mine, but it's almost like a fraction of my aesthetic where I wanted something like completely home. Like that's why I've always had like the parallel experience of be starting my own bands, kind of looking for that, like a writing complete writing source.
Yeah.
But I've just not had luck with bands because they're hard. And so yeah, that's the story. That album cover is taken November uh 2021. Yeah.
2021.
Yes, that album, yeah.
Wow. So that's like, because I saw Propaganda in October of 2021 in Winnipeg. And
Yeah.
so that must have been just like a couple of weeks later.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think
Amazing.
it might have been November like 27th, something around there, like right at the tail end of November is when that photo was taken. Um,
Very cool. Okay, so how long did you work on this alone? Was it like all you, like until maybe the last year? Like how long were you doing this just kind of all by yourself, tinkering away here and there?
Most of it was by myself, but I had a producer kind of who was like kind of like a like an editor, like where I would chime in like when I'd have a finished product and be like, "What do you think?" And but yeah, most of the writing was me. I think there was a couple moments where Evan um kind of got me like I was stuck on form. Like only twice though. It was like but everything true like I did a lot of the legwork. And what's wild is I've made these demos and this was probably the beginning of 2024 or sometime in that maybe the middle. I don't remember anymore. It's like such a the timelines gets hazy because it was such a like it's such an interesting record to experience, like not linear, it's all over the place, so many different guitars setups or recordings, like it spans like five different locations in terms of recordings. It's truly disjunct. And then Evan had all the demos, and at one point, like, all right, so these are the songs, you kind of like, so I can start tracking them for real, like for the real thing. And he's like, oh, these were demos?
Hmm.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're saying these are passable for the real deal? And he's like, yeah. And that's just one of the coolest things about this is that I'm all of the so much of the tracking, I'm not even aware that this is the final product.
Yeah.
So it has this rawness to it. It's yeah, and it's so cool. Just there were so many magical moments throughout this experience, that being a huge one. But yeah, I mean, Evan though, and to really answer your question, was kind of the guy like in the beginning, like so when this previous band fell apart, I had good friend, he's out in LA, Phil, he's yeah, just a friend I talk about like music stuff, like my like what I'm doing, and we bounce back and forth, and so he was aware of what like had happened, and he's like, "Hey, I have this like neighbor who's a producer, mind if I show him your previous band stuff, the thing that like fell apart?" I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Like I don't care." And yeah, Evan was like really like blown away by it. And he doesn't really do bands anymore. He used to, and he's kind of more of a TV movie kind of score guy and was down to work with me, which was like super flattering. And so even without meeting him in person or doing anything, it was like, okay, here's the guy, but like I was just still like I guess I produced it as well because it's like I recorded everything, and there's a couple of things that he did which I'll get to that story in a bit. Like we eventually met in person like a year later, which is actually off of a propaganda tour that the one of the COVID ones that
Oh
got
yeah.
canceled. I ended up rerouting and meeting Evan in person.
That makes a lot of sense because I knew you stayed out west whenever the band went back home.
Yep, and that's where I finally met Evan in person, and we had like a little play date in his studio, and that was like what really solidified, like, oh, I want to work with this guy. Because I had said yes, but I was like also like kind of, I was still in the beginning, like I don't know, like not sure. And then when I worked with him, which he was just like, just start tracking something that let's work on something you're maybe having a little bit of problems with. And it was actually the last song on the record, Black Suit Pink Urn, which didn't have a title or anything. It's just a lot of the riffs that are in that were already written, and I just tracked it, at the tempos, used some of his like a jazz master he had, a guild bass that he had, wrote the bass lines like on the spot, wrote second guitar on the spot. And I really enjoyed how relaxed I felt in his presence. And there was a moment where I'm like, beyond feeling relaxed, I felt like I could get to that higher place while tracking, which is like really hard with recording. Recording's stressful. And to
Yeah.
be like, wow, I feel like I'm really in the moment, able to write freely and kind of like zone out and feel it. I was like, yeah, this is it. And what's cool, and I this was my call. I was like, I want to use a lot of the tracking that we did the day we met in person for the first time on the record. So a lot of that song is actually from that day. So that's why, again, it's all over the place. So that's the part of the credits that's California, is that, yeah, it's seriously all over the place. But at some point when I was writing it, it was the advice of my partner, because she said when she was writing her dissertation that she would journal about like kind of along the way in the process.
Hmm.
And at the bottom, she'd kind of like give herself a little bit of like you did great,
Yeah.
kind of. And I don't know, I must have been, maybe I was in hit a wall or something. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then at that point, I got these notebooks. And I actually, from that point, every time I worked on anything related to the record, it could be lyrics, it could be like a little riff, I actually kind of journaled along with it. So I missed, the beginning of it, but the whole record is kind of archived, like in these sketchbooks. There's like five or six of them. And now that's actually how I even write. Like I've started writing a second thing, and the notebooks are, or I'm already at three.
You developed a new habit, which is actually really hard for adults to do, is to develop something new as a
Yeah.
habitual practice, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, it's all over the place. I mean, it's you asked one question and I had a long answer, but
I
it's,
love it. I love the
yeah.
stories, because you had the experiences, and I loved seeing where the stories go. Tell me about. Okay, so anybody listening to this podcast will know you obviously from Propaganda and from your multiple appearances on this podcast, but many of them will know you vocally as the singer who sings the outro to Back to the Motor League.
Yeah, nice.
So tell me a little bit about the process of sort of finding yourself as a lead vocalist in a band when you've primarily focused in the past on guitar.
Yeah. Well, again, built from failed band ventures, and like I've had many. Like I was basically building this thing, not just for the sake of having this like writing fix, like a fulfillment, I felt like I needed to shield it somehow, where, I've had so many other bands fall apart where I'm like, it was someone else who kind of tore it down. And I was
Hmm.
like, I was tired of that. Um, it can be difficult to feel like you're intact and someone else comes and destroys it, or like you're at the mercy of other people's either buffoonery or egos or whatever, and so I was like, okay. So, reluctantly, I was like, that means I have to fucking sing, doesn't it? At the beginning, I was just like, God damn it. And I had stints of singing in the past. It'd been years though. Like before my band Career was Career, we were Ink and Sweat, which was a very like kind of pop punk, a little post-punk kind of I'd say like hot water music, Reviver, Iron Chic kind of vibe, and then
Hmm.
we changed the name when the sound changed. It became a little bit more of the kind of noisy post-punk thing, Shellac Swans-esque type of thing. And in that switch, uh I remember we were working on one of the earlier songs, and we still had the same formula, which was like um just Ryan, the other singer, and I like both doing vocals, and I'm kind of singing what I had written for this one song, and I just at a practice, and I just remember like, wow, fuck, I hate this. Like I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to focus on guitar. And Ryan's like, that's great, because I kind of mostly want to focus on vocals, and that's why Career ended up sounding away. And it was great. And I am getting to your answer, but it's
Yeah.
like career was a really good place for me to find my guitar voice because there was so much improvisation. Those guys taught me about like weird time signatures. Like I improvised a lot, I really got into like weird pedals and um And I use that parallel, in a way that was parallel to where I was now, because I was like, man, I'm in that place again where like if I am taking on the role of singing. Yeah, yeah, I see what you got there.
I got it. I got the record right here.
Yeah.
Career LP. Are there more of these? Do you have more?
Actually, you know what's really funny? You should say that. Ryan, the guy I'm talking about, just texted me this morning. He's like, "Hey, I'm cleaning out my band space and I found a box of Structures records. I thought we were out, but
Okay.
so yeah, so I'll probably bounce them back up on the. I didn't know. I thought they were gone.
Do it. Okay, well, I got it. Anyway, keep going.
Um.
I
So
started to
yeah,
sneak
it's
it
just
past you there on the screen. Be like, I
yeah,
see
it's
what you got
hilarious.
there.
It's fresh in my mind too because he just sent me a pictures and I'm like, I've seen that same image like
So
multiple
funny.
places today. That's very strange. Um. Anyway, so yeah, so to answer your question about my voice, like I it was a hard place to be in because I thought about the last time I sang, I gave up on singing. I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. Then I even had started a very short-lived band right before I joined Propaganda. It's like the last thing I had. It was only like a year long. We did like two tours, spanned Joy Spent. I sang in it too, and I was like, God, this isn't from, I'm not happy doing this. But I think I needed to just like stay in the guitar lane. But it was like, and now I was faced with like, oh my God, here I am again. This keeps happening. Like I'm faced with singing and I really don't want to do it. But I think what shifted was actually deep down, I think I always wanted to be a singer. Even as a little kid, even before guitar playing, which is wild to think of, but I was so wildly shy. Um, I mean, I was the kind of kid who's like hide behind my mom's fucking legs in front of people, cover my face. Like I was wickedly shy, and singing was fucking scary. You know, I just wasn't secure enough as a person to be a singer, where guitar has singing like qualities but without it coming from me, you know?
Right.
So it's a little bit mm, of a, it's kind of a nice like shield, like an armor, you know? But it helped me. It obviously helped me be more confident, like just being guitars. I mean, I thank it so much for so many things, but definitely, you know, just being confident as a human. It's partly why I like teaching, because I want to help people find that, have that empowerment, you know, find it within themselves. Sometimes it takes a external instrument, you know, to help bring that out. Anyway, so I'm faced with this fucking singing thing, and but my dilemma was like, I have all this experience with music, like decades of, you know, I feel strong as a guitarist. I'm here, and singing feels like I'm like at the beginning, the equivalent of being like a little kid with a recorder. Like, you
Yeah.
know? And I was like, I have to fucking catch up to my music chops. Because the music could be amazing, but if the singing sucks ass, the whole thing sucks ass, you know?
Yeah.
So I was loosely doing kind of jumping around doing, I did an online singing thing, and then I did a couple random ones with someone else. But then at one point, as the record was congealing, this is like about a year in, I was like, okay, I have to get serious. And so I was like, I have no time to waste. I need a serious teacher, and I meet her every week. And so I thought of what whipped me into shape as a guitar player. One of the things was when I studied classical guitar. So I wanted the singing equivalent. So I was fishing around for classical training on voice, and I found it. And that's
Hmm.
from teacher Judy Hages. She's 82. Um, I had an hour or two phone call with her the first time calling her, which is wild. She kind of auditions you. She doesn't take everyone. She like wants to
Wow.
know that you're, yeah, it's legit. She's been singing since she was 3 years old. I mean, and yeah, it's basically uh like kind of like rooted in like opera training. And I knew I wanted this too, not just from the parallel from the guitar, but the singers I liked, like I like Pat Benatar, I love Florence and the Machine, at least the female vocalist. Um they both have that training. So it's like if, you know, that's a pattern there, then maybe, I want that too. And then um that's kind of how I like to think. Like is like whatever the people I like whatever they're doing, I should kind of follow suit if that's how I want to play. So that was kind of part of it. In terms of finding my voice, it was just I fucking practice every day. I still do. I practice like hell, and I had to like it was so frustrating because I sounded like shit for a while, and then one day I didn't.
Hmm. Amazing. But like the vocal performance on the record is so interesting. There's so much dynamics within the performance, and the range is amazing as well. Like the amount of moods that you're able to capture on the record. I mean, it's like really, really shockingly varied. So I was really pretty amazed by the vocal performance throughout, and I can tell those lessons really shine through. Because you were telling me a couple years back that you were doing those lessons, and it just paid off for me as a listener.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I mean, it's just like with the guitar, it's like I feel like you just go hard working like crazy, busting ass, and you got to kind of get through this beginning hurdle where you suck for a long time and it's really frustrating and you almost feel like you're stuck in that, but you you have to have faith that like it will change and it happened, and it's you have to trust the process, trust the experts. Like this woman's having me doing all this weird vocal shit. I have no idea. I have like on the guitar makes sense. Do this kind of shit. I can see it. Vocals, I'm like, why am I going? I still don't know. But she's the expert. She's telling me to do it, so I'm doing it. Like she'll be like, do these two tapes every day you practice and then do songs. Cool. I'm doing it every fucking day, and I did. And it's working its magic. And I enjoy that. I enjoy learning. I really enjoy learning from people like these like experts, they're just like yeah, they're holders of this beautiful skill set, and hers especially and like she focuses on what's called voice building and that's exactly it's like you talk about the range and it's building your voice to where it still sounds like you had all these different ranges and with all these different like kind of deliveries and
Hmm.
that it's a crazy training.
And it all sounds like healthily delivered too. Like it doesn't sound like straining at all. It doesn't sound like it's all coming from the right place within the
Yeah.
body. Like it sounds sustainable, which I love because it feels like if somebody is able to tap into that skill set, then they'd be able to do it live as well because you're not damaging yourself as an instrument when you're performing it.
Yeah, and like what's cool is like, I mean, I tracked this a while ago. I even sound better than I did in the recording. Like I could have, there was talk like I could wait to like get a little bit better at vocals. Like I could have tracked it now, would have sound better, but the punk in me didn't want to do that because one, 4 years, I was already invested. Like that was already a lot of time where I'm like, I my musical value system is that these these projects, these records are snapshots in time. And that was me at that time. That's what I sounded like. I mean, I think I got it up to a good place. There's moments where I'm like, could have done that. Like now I'm like, there's
Yeah.
like things I wish were better, but it's like you also can't, you have to let go, and I'm like, how much am I gonna sit with this to strive for this perfection? It's art too. I also it's why propaganda was like why I was a fan of it. Like you watch, you can hear the progression in every record. I love that about the catalog.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like I want to with this with my solo stuff, like whatever you want to call it, really have that kind of same aesthetic where I'm like that was me then. And the next record I'll maybe sound a little elevated, the style will shift, Um I had to let it go. I had to just like let's move on. Let's move forward.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the rhythm section of the record a little bit. First of all, your bass playing really shines uh, throughout the whole record. Like I found myself as a listener going more to your bass playing than your guitar playing,
It's crazy. It's
which is a
awesome.
wonderful surprise, by the way. So I'd like to. you to comment a little bit on the bass playing, but also uh your collaboration with Eric Summers Urea from La Armada in Marina City because the rhythm section on this record, loved it.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny. In the beginning, after, that picture was taken and then like, I had to kind of like snap myself into like, no, fuck this. Like you can't give up. Like you can like I have a vision of what I want from my life. That's how I navigate as well. And you have to just keep going. And Pocket God, the first song on the record, actually I wrote the skeleton of that song within a week of that picture too, back in November 2021. Might have trickled into December. Um 2021. But yeah, it's the first bass playing that I wrote. And so in terms of that side, and now I'll get to the Eric, yeah, I guess I love new wave. I love,
Yeah,
and it's just dancey. I don't know. It's funny because there are people who've listened, and I got some doubtful, some naysaying throughout about the bass, where it's like people are like, oh, this band's gonna be great once the bass play, if you get a good bass player. I got some of that, and I was, like, right at the end, I was like, oh man, like should I retrack? And I went back to my friend's studio in Jersey and kind of consider retracking and all this shit. I was like, kind of those comments like kind of fucked me. And as I did, I was like, fuck that. I'm like, I believe in this. I like how the bass playing is because it's more like a counterpoint with this kind of new wave, dancey, really strong melodies, contagious melodies. Just like, I mean, it's like the fucking Cure, or like so much of that. I mean, that is my home as well. Again, where it's just like I wanted that fix in this project. It's like is the like Talking Heads, like Cure, like I love that shit.
yeah.
That's the stuff I put on like just regularly and
That's what I put on in the car with my kid
yep,
every single day when we're driving to school. It's 80s, it's Kate
yep.
Bush, I mean, it's all that stuff. So I totally am with you.
Yeah, and I mean I just anything I write, melodically, it just has to be catchy and dan even when it's sad, it's still catchy and dancey and it's in own way. And so that's how I write bass. And I've got the nerdy music theory brain on at all times. Like I know my shit with that too. I at one point in my life I thought I wanted to be a composer, so I know counterpoint. I studied jazz, thought I wanted to be a jazz player, so I know that. So that's all in here. Studied
Hmm.
classical. So I do work in this like in the counterpoint way of thinking, even within just the guitar playing, I think, and a counterpoint with the six strings. So I guess that's the process, but and actually kind of crediting because so much of even this record, because it being by myself, I hope I'm answering your question.
You are. Keep going.
Okay. Okay. Sometimes I feel like I don't know if I go off and anyway.
I love it.
There's all these little, but it's like, as much as this record can seem like, hey, it's just me, it's not. It's also that my history as a musician. I just listed the field, these multiple points in my life where I thought I wanted to pursue these different musical paths, and I went far in each, but then I always circle back to rock and punk. I can't give
Hmm.
up like shows. And part of even the help with writing is my experience in these bands I've been in, like Career and Feral Babies. And I bring that up with the bass playing and even just writing in general, because, I could have all this like training and other shit and experience, but a really valuable uh, bit that I learned was from the singer of Feral Babies, Justin, who, wrote a lot of the guitar parts for that band. And I would watch him in practice on the spot, like come up with these cool dancey guitar parts. And I remember at the time I was learning a bit about theory, and it made me realize I'm like, cool that you're learning this stuff and you're learning this vast world of like all the formulas and stuff, which for me that I like because I'm a pretty big numbers person. But don't lose that. because that is as important or it is as valuable as like the theory side. Theory's kind of like painting, like you know what happens when you mix red with white, you know the outcome. So if I
Hmm.
mix a C and F sharp tritone, it's gonna sound tense. Cool. But all that shit doesn't matter if it's not making you move and you can't like latch onto it. And Justin is one of, yeah, a huge inspiration for me, like yeah, just a musician that I'm like, keep that in check, keep the theory in check. Don't ever lose sight of that. Like I needed that kind of face to face. And so this whole project is, and just how I write is always a balance of those two kind of worlds. The like super heavy theory, the layering, you know, all the music shit, and then make it catchy, make it a pop song. So that's how I handle bass. In terms of Eric and the drumming on the other side of the rhythm section, I wrote all the songs and then sent it to him, and we did this long distance over email. And it was, you know, scary. It was a little bit of work at times. Like I think To the Sky was one of the most like where we did more takes. Like I was just like not quite, you know, and it's hard to communicate over email, but still it came through and he's such a good drummer and I trust him, you know, and we had already established a connection from the time that I played in Non Mila. Like um I like performing with that guy a lot, you know, and
Yeah.
he's so talented, so he felt really good for this because he's also very eclectic. Like he can hang in all types of styles, but I like that his kind of root is like rock and pop. That felt perfect for this. And he's uh he's such a good listener as a human and as a musician. I loved when I would receive like his takes, like yeah, just be like, send him, let's say, here's Pocket God. There's no drums. I didn't write to drums. I wrote everything just like on its own. And I was like, what I would do is I would send a song to Eric and give him a little bit of references. Like actually when I said driving off a cliff, I was like, think like the Fat Albert theme song with like, shit like that. Or like To the Sky, I was like time after time, Cyndi Lauper mixed with, like and maybe I want a little bit of like and then I'd ask for specifics, like in Hot Drunken Steps, stop here. I want this like to be a break, and so but that's about the direction I gave, which I like that because it gives him the freedom to interpret it in the way that he wants to and to play. And that's I think that's what you need when you're to make them feel like they're a part of it, like have his own voice. And I think there was only like I think couple songs. Like I wrote the drum beat to like What Now, What Never, which that's a funny story too, because that's one of the few that I made the beat and then I wrote the song to that beat. But I wrote the song to the same beat throughout the whole thing. But as I did, I was like, damn, this sounds sick. And so when it came time to send that one to Eric, I was like, yo, so I don't want to make this like a suicidal mission for you, but in my mind, it'd be cool if you played that one beat the entire fucking song. But I'm thinking live, that's crazy to ask of you. So I will let you decide. Like, this is how I want it, but I'm also, common sense and reality, thinking live show. I want it to match. So I want you to decide like if you're willing, because he is going to be the performing drummer too,
Sweet.
live. Um, and he was all game. He's like, no, let's do it. And then he said he did it. He was that was hard, but so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like he loved it. And like if you listen to his control on like the hi-hat. He's a beast. And
He's
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, it's just he does all of the drum things so well. It's just like he has power, but he can pull back. He has such a range and dynamics, like I said, and he really listens to the songs. Like there's a there's an attentiveness to the way he writes, like certain things he accents. He doesn't go for the obvious. Like I feel like he's like kind of listening to the whole scene and be like, what can I, like, how can I hold down the fort, keep the mood, but maybe I can accentuate something out of the big pool of things that are going on.
Yeah.
I think something like in that part of Black Suit, Pinker, and the kind of something like a bridge, like the like Are You Afraid to Dream part. It's like he's doing a snare thing that's kind of matching the vocal pattern. It's like shit like that. Um, so yeah, it was weird to kind of go about it this way, but we did it. And it- kind of a yeah, just a long process, but like I said, we got it done, like, and it sounds great. It was on time, like, which is like, it's why, even when you're recording demos, make sure timing is right, because a lot of, yeah, there's demo magic that can happen that you might never get that sound again. So like, I feel like take demos super seriously with timing and as much as possible.
You've alluded a couple times to live performances and a band, and you have announced a band, um, sort of, a little bit here and there on
Yeah,
social
yeah.
media. Tell me a little bit about the band situation going forward, and who's in it, who's involved, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so Eric will be the drummer live as well. And when I had asked him to be a part of this, yeah, I was just up front there too, like, hey, would you be down to also do this live? And he's like, yeah, and he's in Chicago. We're all dispersed, which logistically is interesting, but I so the other two guys, basically this whole thing. As I was writing it, I really took my time with thinking about who's going to perform it. For a while, I just had that out of my mind. I'm like, I don't need to worry about that. It'll, but it was kind of like on the sidelines, like, I'd meet musicians and like, could this work? Like, but based on my experience in the past, and again, like maybe being too quick with people and then it falling apart, just like, I wanted to be very smart. Like, what's the saying? Hire slow, fire fast.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I didn't even have uh guitarist or bassist into like probably year three-ish to four-ish of, it was the very last. Even Eric, like it was like kind of in the middle of the recording, a couple years in. I was like, I'll worry about that when it's time to.
Right.
So yeah, and then uh I actually had other people lined up and I just as the project was coming along, I was like, I don't know, I don't think they fit. And it not even just musically, it's actually human wise. Like I was really going for like the human element, like who they are as people, their personalities, like a unit that really supports this, believes in it, and yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is there a timeline for performances or rehearsals or anything?
Yeah, we have our first booked, but they're happening next year. I'll just say
S-
that. Yeah.
Very cool. Um,
But yeah, oh sorry. I didn't but the other two guys, I don't know if you wanted to hear about
yeah,
them,
yeah,
but
yeah. Who are they? Can
um
you announce at all?
yeah. Jason Wilson is on guitar. He's down here in Tampa and yeah, I was kind of with him and a little bit uh, venting about, man, I don't know who to have as guitarists. Guitarists are hard. Like having two guitarists in a band can be hard because it's like to not feel like there's like ego kind of thing, like and yeah, it's just like it's just like and I don't know. I mean, I've actually had obviously like I don't have that in propaganda. Like it's like I've had really good luck with two guitar experiences, but I've also had some shitty ones.
Hmm.
In other words, it feels like you're kind of battling the person, and it's like I was kind of looking for someone. It's like people who are confident not playing all the fucking time. who are comfortable in silence. And
Yeah.
you're on, like let's say like in propaganda, there's moments where I'm kind of hanging out. Chris is doing there, even the guys, I'm not like, oh, I'm not playing. Like, I don't have that. It's a performance. We are a team. I have a sports mentality with bands, and that I trust that everyone will have their time to shine.
Yeah.
I can't be a baby about like I didn't play for 40 seconds in the beginning of the song, and you'd be surprised. That's like fuck, there's people just like there's complaints like that. I won't have it, basically, is like what my thing is. So Jason's cool. And then Chris, I had to a new bass player, the one that announced it didn't work out, but he's out in Jersey and he's a visual artist. Really awesome guy. And yeah, it's just these people I kind of met and they just have the personalities and they're just busting ass like like to learn these songs. Like I've been kind of I meet with them each week either online, and I wrote out all the music on these on like the music notes and stuff like that, and so that it's accurate as fuck because I'm meticulous. And yeah, I've been kind of coaching them and they're killing it. So but they have
Amazing.
they have the right brains.
It's going to pay off. A couple fun things. You've done videos. Jeremy Hammond is the name that I was able to find for production and filming. Tell me a little bit about some of the music video stuff that you've done because it's super fun.
Yeah, fuck. That's been a dream. I'm fucking grew up in the, 80s, 90s, like
Music
God, music
videos.
videos, everything. Like to
Yeah.
me, again, like that's what I want this to be. It's serious, but it's also fun, you have to have that play in music, like, and I really am happy to have a home where like that we can do that. So yeah, the music video, I mean, fuck, Hot Drunken Steps, which was the first one. I must have contacted Jeremy. Jeremy's an old former guitar student of mine, and he's done a lot of he's a legit producer, worked on MTV and VH1, all this shit, and still does stuff, he and his partner. And I must have reached out to kind of ask for help, and he was down just to help, and he was like, I'm looking for something kind of like creative, something away from like job land. And it was rad. Like it was that the dancing scenes, it was just me and him. Like a total, like, I mean, it's like a Kevin Smith like production, low production, just two of us. And we had, and what was rad was that he sent me multiple examples of like these storyboards that legit for like legit productions, like commercials and things like that. And he's like, basically, do this, like whatever vision you have. And so I plugged it in with a bunch of like imagery and references, like Hot Drunken Steps. Like I had ideas for that. And then yeah, and then we made it come to life. Like I had the two locations in mind because like one's Tarpon Springs, the other one's actually my former bandmate Ryan's bar he owns in Tampa, the bathroom they let us use. But I remember seeing that bathroom years ago and be like, I gotta do something here. This is a beautiful fucking bathroom. I bookmark things along the way, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I use you at some point. That this brain never turns off. Anyway, so yeah, me and fucking Jeremy did it. The Hot Drinking Steps was so cool because we're just like we're going for it, just basically two people. Even the bar scenes with a couple extras, I just reached out to people who I'm like, only like three people showed up or whatever to Dan. I'm like, whatever. And then um I had asked my former bandmate Andy, and he came in and he helped to be like an extra hand with filming. So it's a very small crew. And actually, what's funny, one of the dancers in Hot Drinking Steps is Jason. He wasn't even my guitarist then. Like he would later become my
Hmm.
guitarist, but he was one of the dudes who like I asked and showed up. And then Chandra and Julian, a couple other friends, and gave him direction on outfit, so we just kind of did it, um and then I edited it actually. Back in high school, TV production, I worked on the morning show, and I actually loosely have done video work. I just don't promote it throughout my life.
Hmm,
So that was fun to I edited actually all three videos, and it was cool. Like it was rad to do that. And by the third one, because Jeremy was kind of being like, "Oh wow, you can like you really know what you're doing." He upped the ante with my his editing feedback, which was really fun. Like
nice.
that one that one took a while. Like he was like really getting deep with and I was like, "Fuck yeah." Like that was a lot of work, but and then even his partner got involved with like they basically gave me like the true like editor's treatment, like producers, and I was all about it. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. That's kind of been the process, and Jeremy's a fucking dream. Like he can steer the ship like and on the spot. He gives good direction, but he stays chill, and he allows for play and experimentation, and yeah, they've been a blast, and we have ideas down the line for other stuff, and yeah, he's the best really, and he let us use his fucking like Night Summer Heat one was so fucking awesome because that's like his hangar. Like he's out in the he lives in like an aviation community down in Sarasota. He's also a Brooklyn dude. Like he's kind of like me, like New York, Florida,
Nice.
you know. Um and Yeah, it was hot as fucking shit. Like, so that really lived up to the name. I mean, it was July in Florida, and we're all dressed in black, like 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 cool kids. Anyway,
Yeah.
but it was fun. Like we just did all that in like an 11-hour day. Sweat. You would take breaks, open up, bring in these industrial fans, and what's rad, that car, it's like he has like some neighbor who's like a cop that was on a show who's like, she owes me a favor. She's letting us use her car. That's rad. I have a video too. He's rolling in with his little kid in the front seat, like rolling in with his amazing like 60s like pickup truck, beautiful red, and he parks it just randomly. And then later, as we're kind of setting the scene, he's like, "You know how long it sometimes takes to like figure out exactly the placement of a car? Where he parked it just happened to be perfect the way we set it up. Like we didn't have to touch it. It's again those little magical moments that like really it's what it's all about. I felt it on my own writing the music and or even with Evan, with Eric. With the music videos too, it's just like these accidents that like they're just like they just fucking click um and yeah, I'm Jeremy is again everyone who's kind of in right now and has their hands in it gets it, and that's the best feeling. Like he and I were in New York at one point, and he's like, "You're really building something special here." Like he's like, "I really." And to be like it's a vehicle for him, like he's getting this fix. Like that's the best. Like that's the beauty of collaboration, and that's really beyond the songs and the shows. This is what this is home for. This is what I want it to be about. To like just full potential artistic expression.
Yeah, I mean, this record doesn't sound like anything else I've ever really listened to. It's like such a interesting amalgamation for me from like punk and surf and synth and like almost like Vegas lounge and also some Caribbean beats and stuff like that. It's a really special it's a really special record. And I love it. I love listening to it. But I do have one more question. Tell me about it's like an almost quasi secret track on the end of Black Suit Pink Urn. Tell me about that because I
Hilarious.
didn't catch it till my third listen to the record because I like moved on and I did something else. So it took me a while to catch it.
Nice. Yeah. I'm like, oh, 2025. Let's see how many people get to this part.
Three
But
listens.
here's the thing. Uh, an another big part of this experience, and I made that video where I'm like, I want people to like listen to it all the way through because I miss what a listening experience used to be
Yeah.
with albums and just in general and I didn't purposely like be like I'm gonna have sit out like I'm gonna have a secret track. It just happened. Like I don't
Yeah.
work that way. I don't like things to feel like forced or contrived or anything like that. Um that was actually that's kind of similar to the part that was the verse. And that's a demo. That whole thing is actually a demo. Like it's recorded with like no vocal proofing, like I think a Rickenbacker plugged right in. There's no amp. Like it's and it's pretty raw. And I was like, that's it. Like the demo version is it. Like it's not. Don't touch it. And even my vocals too. That was early on. Like I didn't have like the range that I did later on. I still wanted to keep it. Um, yeah, I mean, so I've always loved secret tracks. I think of I mean, actually, was it supporting cast on this one, right? Like, come to the Sabbath, Satan's
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
right? And then Green Day has
Dookie. Yeah. I
yeah,
was alone.
FOD,
I was all by
FOD,
myself.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love them, and it just happened like where I'm like, oh, what if I do that? And I wanted, I think. I feel really happy with that one because it's like uh because it kind of responds to the part in the song when it's a question like are you afraid to dream and that song's really about grieving and just how but also the like almost like insomnia that can happen when you're grieving like and just even thinking about life and death like it's hard and it's confusing and uncomfortable and it makes I don't know, sometimes you just feel like you don't you just want to give up too, and so like the whole like are you afraid to dream and then just to answer it. I there's an interesting lullaby-esque vibe that I get from that part too. Um where like that's kind of where the la-las like I wanted it to feel that way almost music boxy lullaby like a sweetness kind of go out of the record in that way um so yeah it just kind of felt like it happened again these I feel like I've listened to a lot of music I just like a lot of albums and I love the beauty that albums have and I want to just keep writing to be like to prolong all these little things, these features, and it just the secret track just happened to be a feature that worked out on this one. I wasn't anything planned, and I'm stoked. And yeah, but I definitely wondered
Yeah.
if people would. It's even funny. I was like when I decided I was gonna do it, which I was stoked because I'm like, cool. I've never kind of been in a part of an album that had a secret track, and it's cool that this has finally happened, and that's another part of continuing to write that's exciting is when you finally do things that you like, but you just never, the opportunity never came up in whatever pool of songs that you're or record that you're working on. And but I was even like debating the amount of space because I'm like, okay. Song ends, and it's like old secret tracks I feel like could go for a while, but
Yeah.
we are not those same brains sadly anymore. We don't have the same level of patience, which is depressing. And so I feel like I'm like I'm still it's risky. I'm like I'm still fucking doing it because I care more about the art even if people don't care. And I don't give a shit. I'm like this is like it's also a reflection of like where I came from. Like I'm that era of listener, and so I will be that era of writer. Like I
Yeah.
I will forever allude to the 80s and the 90s. That's my
Yeah.
fucking jam.
Well, and what's so funny too about this secret track thing is like right now we're an hour into this conversation, so people might not even make it all the way. So you have to listen to this whole thing to hear us talk about the philosophy of secret tracks, which is like really kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be a reward for the committed listener, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because I remember, I feel like I have memories of the Green Day one
Yeah.
of being like, I didn't know it was there until I may have just been like tinkering around on the floor with something.
Yeah, the
And
record
then,
ends and then you forget to hit stop and then that's how
yeah.
you discover secret tracks is like the CD would just keep going, you know?
And you're just like, who's here?
Yeah, who's talking to me? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you realize what's happening and it's like, oh, nice. But the Green Day FOD secret track is at least a couple minutes later.
I know. I
So
know.
that's a deep bury. And the Come to the Sabbath one is pretty far too, after Last Will and Testament. So yeah, I mean it's some of those are pretty are buried pretty far. Yours is a little more digestible for the 2025, 2026 low attention
Yeah.
crowd.
That's
Because
exactly what I was thinking.
it's almost a fade out and then almost a fade back in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like what, like 20 seconds maybe?
Yeah. It's like, it is this.
It's a nice little homage to what was
Yeah.
and
But adapting.
yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
know. I know. If it, I probably would have wanted it to be several minutes, but I just know the reality, like, of where we are at as a society and attention spans, and
Yeah. Plus
so it's
pressing it
like,
on vinyl is going to make it more complicated as well.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me about the physical product and where people can get it and what are some details that you enjoy about the physical pressings?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of similar to, just the listening experience. For one, I think vinyl sounds better. I think it occupies a room in a more spacious way than other forms, there's just, even if it's like a slight bit, I feel like it has that type of air. Um, but yeah, it's just having a piece of music as a tangible thing that's like with you. It's, you know, we like things. They're little companions. And I think so having that was not just for the sound thing, but it's on vinyl and then on digital streaming. Maybe it'll be on CD, but not yet. But that's where you find it. And just, maybe there will be people who kind of just hang with it, sit and read the lyrics, look at the pictures. I don't know. I know I still do that. Um, at least I try to hold on to that.
Excellent.
Um,
Well, Sulin, tell everybody links for your website, Bandcamp, all that stuff.
yeah, so most of you can find most things just on my regular website, sulynhago.com. And then through there you can link off to a bunch of other stuff. But Bandcamp is where you can buy the vinyl, and that's sulynhago.bandcamp.com. And then, if you want to check out these music videos, just go to the YouTube channel. Again, all that's really you can bounce off my main website, but I think it's just Sulynn Hago Music is the YouTube thing. And yeah, hopefully, we'll get the band going, playing some shows. That's the last piece, it's a very different uh building of a project, but it's coming together somehow.
Awesome. Well, Sulin, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast so many times over the last 5 years. It means a ton, and it's a delight to feature a full conversation about the writing and creation of Faith in the Doghouse. It's nice to feature all of the musical projects from everybody associated with Propagandy, and this one is no different. What a nice little addition to the Propagandy fan universe. So thank you so much for being here and telling us the whole story. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.